Isn't it amazing how things evolve? You know, initially I was only planning to do some basic house cleaning today, but somehow ended up starting a whole new project. I went full-on green fingers mode with an herb garden on the balcony, picked up a few wooden crates from around the house, and repurposed them into these cute DIY planters. Basil, mint, rosemary, thyme, you name it, it's there. Truly brought out the farmer in me, kitchen farmer that is, as Una would probably say. Well, nothing better than freshly plucked herbs right from your backyard. Or well, balcony in my case for those perfect pizzas, am I right? Oh, and you should have seen Juan's reaction when I told him. He was more thrilled about the garden-to-table idea than actually having the herbs for our next pizza night. You know Juan, always a sucker for healthy and fresh cooking. Also, he cleverly coined it, Adventures of the Kitchen Farmer. Who knows, might even start an IG page for it, just for laughs. Yeah, we really need to bring back these playful days, you know? Una, the amazing diver that she is, was out in the sea today. Guess what she spotted? A sea slug. I know it sounds weird, but they're kind of cute in their own strange, slimy way. I mean, for someone who's into herbs and dough, sea life is pretty fascinating. Una's stories always remind me of the underwater restaurant we had planned. What was it? The Deep Sea Pizzeria. Good chuckles. Anyway, Juan, the master coder that he is, tried to make it all about his debugging, can you believe it? That guy, he'll make anything sound action-packed. Honestly though, dealing with real bugs or codes, not sure which is more scarier. Our little techie baker-diver group, the baker, the coder, and the diver, sounds like a blockbuster in the making, don't you think? Keeping the spirit up with the Oscars talk, I've decided to be the baker of the Oscar-winning team if that ever happens. You know that feeling when you just absolutely love what you're doing, regardless of how silly it might seem to others? That's what I felt today while planting those herbs. Speaking of which, my herb babies need some more compost mix. You know what would be perfect? Some of your homemade compost mixture. I think the herbs would absolutely love it. Do drop by some when you can, okay? Isn't it amazing how a simple activity can create such strong bonds? Today's pottery session was a real hit. Sun-hee, my pottery teacher, helped me organize it, and let me tell you, it was so much fun. Minjun, Jean, Hyejin, Marie, even Gi-tae, everyone had such a blast. We all made our own personalized dishes, quite a unique souvenir to remember the day by, don't you think? Oh, and you know what's funny? It's like everyone's personality came out in their pottery. Take Minjun, for instance. The guy's like an unstoppable storm on the football field, right? Guess what? His dish ended up looking like a football too. Jean, the ever-meticulous one, made a dish that was near perfect. Hyejin, our fellow foodie, baked a dish shaped like a bread loaf. Typical Hyejin move, I say. Did I tell you about Gi-tae's yet? The masterpiece of the day. The guy made a dish resembling an opera house, claiming it symbolizes his grand plans for his restaurant empire. Oh, how we laughed. The impromptu pottery session turned out to be more than just fun. It actually felt like teamwork, like our football matches under the setting sun near the glistening beaches of Busan. Ah, good old days. After pottery, we stayed for a bit just chatting away with bowls of piping hot ramyeon. You know, it's times like this that make you appreciate the bonds you share with people. I could actually feel the energy today, vibrant and warm, just like my kitchen oven ready for a perfect dough. Remember how we were joking about creating a sourdough emoji in our chat today with Juwan and Una? Well, Una said about making a fish pot, while that techie Juwan's thinking about a code bracket dish. I couldn't contain my laughter imagining his face as he said that. Speaking of cooking, I'm starting the Chef's Table series tonight. Can't wait to soak in some culinary insights from the best in the business. I'm cooking up a storm in my mind and I can already smell the hearty aromas, just like Mom's bread on those winter mornings. We're also planning a movie night soon. Yes, the good old trio of movies, Food and Friends. Can't get better than that, can it? And you gotta guess who's assigned the task of food? Yes, me. A pizza fest is on the cards, my friend. I'm heading to the kitchen now to try out a new recipe. Time to put on my chef's hat. You know what's funny? I was simply watering my herbs and was hit with this crazy idea to reinvent our traditional Korean dish sundubu jjigae with fresh herbs, and I was so curious to see how it turns out that yeah, I got to work and made it. Turns out, food experiments on a Sunday are quite refreshing. I promise, if you try my sundubu jjigae with time, you'll feel like you've been teleported to an Italian market. It's like Rome in a bowl, I kid you not. I can't wait for Sumin to try it. His fascination for Italian cuisine is legendary. Isn't it amazing how even in a kitchen, hundreds of miles away, food can connect cultures and experiences? Just a sprinkle of herbs and voila, Italy meets Korea in a bowl of sundubu jjigae. Juhwan and Yuna were really surprised when I told them I'd started a herb garden. In fact, Juhwan even said it was adventurous. That's something, coming from a mountaineering enthusiast, right? And speaking of Yuna, she raised a very interesting point about how herbs might drastically change the taste of traditional dishes. Well, I can say this. The aroma makes a difference, and it definitely makes the dish more complex. It's a blending of worlds, really, and it honestly made me very excited to experiment more in the future. I proposed an idea for a herb-inspired potluck with Juhwan and Yuna, and they're game for it. It would definitely be an interesting way to share our culinary adventures, right? Just imagine the range of dishes, each with its own unique spin. Oh, and do you remember our creative pot dishes before? Something similar, only this time our mystery ingredient would be herbs. We could invite some of our friends from the restaurant too. I bet they'd add some interesting dishes to the mix. Though I'm sure Jean would probably bring up that herb code mixture idea, which frankly is quite interesting. Remember that time I got anxious about failing to create the perfect sourdough? The anxiety was quite real until I decided to try a different approach. Funnily enough, today's food experiment made me realize that it's not always about getting it right, but about exploring and experiencing different things. It's like when we started playing football, remember? Or even the bouldering. Enough about cooking. Let's talk movies. You know I've been binge-watching this new MasterChef series. It's pretty intense, and I must give you a heads up before you watch. No spoilers, though, I promise. Say, we could catch up on it together when we plan our movie night. What did you say?